I feel like writing gives voice to the deep things we can't say, and it's all about practicing and learning how to do that together with someone who believes in your voice as much as you do. The women in my family are huge storytellers. I remember as a kid actually trying to imitate the loops that my grandmother and mom's handwriting had. I kind of felt like as a kid there's this greater destiny for me. Stories were that opportunity to experience that greater destiny.
Leonora, Chapter 1. My mother said everyone has two hearts. At one point in our lives we'll wish one would stop beating so the other can live more peaceably. I didn't understand what she meant then. Now it's too late to ask her.
I definitely write young adult science fiction, but I like to play with the genre a little bit because YA didn't have a whole lot of characters with disabilities. Most female characters tended to be very pretty, and there was kind of like this insta-love where their whole life was about, loving a guy and not so much about them developing themselves as an individual. I grew up in a military family. The first 10 years of my life, we moved anywhere from every 2 years to every 6 months before we moved to Japan. We lived there 2 separate times. I lived in South Korea for 3 years and Germany for 7. And then I've also lived in Argentina, Italy. I think all of that has really come into me trying to create more of a culturally focused science fiction versus a technology focused science fiction. With Lawyer Born, I wanted there to be a sense of cultural diversity, have characters that looked very different, but also went through things that represented difficulties that we go through. All of my characters definitely come from real life experiences that I then kind of winch into that developing vision. My students have been a huge inspiration for my books. Dex was inspired by a lot of different students, but the inciting moment for his coming into life was definitely one of my visually impaired students. And then watching the relationships of my students falling in and out of love and wondering what that would look like in a blind village.
There was a quiet desperation in her voice. Or your trek here to Lepidaya. That journey would have killed someone without your ability. She brought her palms together. Leonora, I cannot tell you how to proceed. You are no longer a child.
Hirana's work felt a lot more raw and visceral than the experience of writing A Lawyer Born. I believe in writing kick-ass girls that can be both gentle, but also hold up their own in both a fist fight and a verbal altercation. I'm both an author and an editor. I can both take project management and also the creative side and merge them together to help the authors that I work with and also writers, because I also work with nonfiction writers as well. Because I'm also an author myself, I have a certain understanding of the journey they're going through, and as a result, there might be less resistance to the changes that I'm suggesting to help that piece really move toward its intended audience. You do have to retrain your brain to become a successful writer. It's not if your book is going to get published, it's just when. The most important thing, though, is making sure that you're writing something that's quality, but you're also allowing it to go through that developmental phase. That's the thing about Leonora, is that she still maintains her gentleness and her kindness, that hard and difficult adversity is not going to change her core person of who she is. I want readers to feel a lot of hope. I want them to feel that they can do hard things and that it won't make you a hard person.